also fine. Karibu sana on Pambio Live. We're so honored to have you.
Amen.
You can kindly just introduce yourself to the people that you're in the house.
Amen. Thank you. My name is Pastor Sarah Marvel. I am blessed to be here today. I am married to one wonderful man of God. I thank God because I've been called into the ministry of worship and also word. I pastor a church together with my husband along Ronald Ngala Street. The church is called City of Grace. I thank God because He has given us the privilege to do that. Yeah, so I'm really grateful.
Wow, Amina. And just realizing that you're a wife's a pastor of a wife, how is it? Because I've had so many, people say, oh, it's not easy. How has it been for you as a wife to a pastor?
Wow, it has been quite an experience. I got married 2 months ago.
Oh wow!
Today marks actually the second month, so I'm actually still trying to navigate how that road is like, but it's quite simple if you are raised in such an atmosphere, or you're raised in such a background. My mother was a pastor's wife, so I grew up like seeing her what she used to do, and it was a great inspiration for me. So when I watched that, it has not been hard for me to try and relate.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And direct to your ministry, when did you discover that you've been called into the ministry of worship and also being a pastor as well?
Okay, into the ministry of worship, I discovered that some time back when I was just done with my high school. I used to love singing all along. When I was a child growing up, I just loved music and anything that came along with it, but I had not segmented the kind of music I want to do, or the kind of music I want to listen to, the kind of music I want to sing, until when I gave my life to Christ. I did that when I was in high school, I think around Form 2, Form 3 there. And then something new, just came into me. I lost interest for other kind of music. It's like my heart just wanted, to do gospel and to just serve God and, to just sing unto God. So that is where I realized that God has channeled my life into the worship ministry. And then being a pastor's wife, I had never thought of being a pastor's wife. I was just leading a normal Christian life, just serving God and doing me, until when I met my husband. When I met him while doing my ministry. So it was easy for me, to just switch from being me to being a pastor's wife. It was not hard. God has been faithful.
Wow, amazing. And Pastor Sarah, I know there's that journey that normally God takes someone. I don't know, at any point if you have ever faced rejection in your life, because that's the topic that we're talking about today. And what did it mean to you? Did it direct you to the right purpose, or you regret being rejected or passing through rejection?
I have been rejected, and I can say that one of the worst battles I've fought in my life is the battle of rejection. I have fought that for a very long time, and when I talk about rejection, I really do understand what it means. When someone says I have been rejected, when someone says people are rejecting me, I know how it feels, because personally I have been through that. I think for about 2 years ago, let me say 3 years, yes, I was in a state of rejection, whereby I faced rejection from friends and even the church. So it was a real experience for me. Yes, so when I talk about it, I know how bad it is. I know how bad it can hurt. I know how bad it can tamper with someone's esteem and any other thing.
Yeah, so there's someone who is watching us today, and she would like a practical example of the rejection you went through, so that it can also build someone. Probably they're going through the same.
Okay. What I would say about rejection and myself is that rejection is that state of someone not being accepted. See, that is the first thing that someone needs to understand when they talk of rejection and all that. And personally, there are things that, okay, my case I can term it spiritually, but there are many factors that cause rejection. But I went through a season. There was once a scandal that came up about me in church. I was not aware of how the whole thing happened because it was so fast, and apparently this happened when I had just started dating my husband, and stories started coming up and all that, and it was really scary for me. And so I just got up one morning, I go to church, and everyone is not talking to you, everyone doesn't want to associate with you, and you're asking yourself, what's not happening, what's going on, what is happening? And then people who are close to you, they begin, drifting away. Wanaanza kuonyesha ile boundaries, So you try to associate with them, but it's obvious. Like when they look at you, it's obvious there's something that is wrong. Yeah. So that was the biggest battle. And at that time, I was not able to defend myself because the person who did this had more power. Let me say more power, because he was in authority. So it was hard for me to say, no, I didn't do this. No, this is not the case. This is the case. So when it got to that point, I really had to, just hold my gut, because at that time you don't know what to do. And people face rejection. Some think it's just outside the church or in the outside world. No, I faced rejection in the church. Yeah. I did. But God helped me to, heal.
And there's something you've mentioned,
yes,
that whatever happened, by then you dated, was there anything that, your husband maybe supported you or maybe fought for you?
Yeah, he did support me a lot, because when he found me, my esteem was crushed because of that. Rejection is the first attack to your esteem and your emotions and everything that you feel. So when he found me, I was like, I'm not better off. There are better ladies out there. There are better people than me. There are people without scandals and all that. But he was like, I'm here for you. And when everyone left and, they were doing everything they did, he was there. He stood with me through every season. He was like, in this, I'm not going to leave you. So it was a real inspiration for me. I actually thank God for him, because I don't know what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Something else about, your ministry. How has it been for you, being you're now a wife, you're doing other things, and you're also in ministry. How has it been for you to balance all that?
Balancing my life, it has taken the hand of God, because doing ministry and doing other things is not easy. I can say that. There are many challenges, especially for someone who has not been there, full-time. I have not been in full-time ministry, and up to now, I can't say I'm still in full-time ministry, but it takes a lot of energy, to try and learn what ministry is all about. You're supposed to be equipped more than the people you pastor, because they're going to come to you with such issues and, a lot of things, and you have to be able to, lead them in the right way and tell them the right thing. So it really takes a lot. And I don't preach for the sake of preaching, or I don't do ministry for the sake of doing ministry, or because other people do ministry. I do ministry because I feel it's a calling, and that's what most people don't understand. You see, there are people who go to ministry because of business. There are some who do business with ministry, they go to preach so that they can earn money and stuff like that. But as for me, it's different, because there is an assignment that is attached to it, and I have to make sure that this assignment is fulfilled. So that is the hardest part of it all. whereby you have to differentiate that you're not doing this to please anyone, you're not doing this to gain fame or to gain anything. You are doing this for the purpose of God, and you have to make sure that the will of God concerning His people is fulfilled.
Yeah. Amina. And one of the things that I've realized is that every man of God or any woman of God has to pass through a trial. But I don't know if you have ever passed through a trial and God gave you a testimony that can build someone.
I have passed through a trial, and trials is one of the ways that God has to test you before He entrusts you with what He has to entrust you with. The biggest trial of my life is that I was used to being a wonderful person, this happy person where you go everywhere, you're accepted, you're loved. I was a favorite to most people, my parents and all that. And then it gets to a point where everything has changed. You wake up in the morning, you're no longer the favorite child, you're no longer the favorite person. You have to deal with that. You have to grow up knowing sometimes things change. And that was very hard for me. It killed my esteem. It killed my inner, that inner strength in me. So I began seeing things in a different way. And I was like, will I ever, get that same favor that I used to have? Will I ever be that favorite person that I used to be? Will I ever be, you are trying to compare yourself with the place where you are and where you are now, and you're like, here I don't see any hope. And I remember one day when I woke up, I was from sleep, and I just woke up and I started reading my Bible, and I jumped across this scripture of love your neighbor as you love yourself. Then I asked God, how can I love my neighbor if I don't love myself? And then God told me, that is it. You have to learn how to love yourself. But at that point, it was so hard. I was looking at it and I was like, no, the life I'm living now, it doesn't make sense. I'm just from being someone great to someone nothing, nobody recognizes you, things are going hayway, stories are being said. So God told me, go back. Take the future you to come and address the present you and the past you. So I sat down and I had an out-of-body experience. That's how I can call it. Because I saw another me come and start talking to me and told me, you are great. And you should know that greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. So as you're living this life, I want you to know you're a great human being. You are loved. You are cherished. And I had, that really had to happen to me, because it really helped me overcome that. And from that time, I can say I have seen a very big difference about myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amina. And, woman of God, I would just like you to lead us in prayer, because I know